What's up, y'all? I'm back with another quick video. We're gonna talk about something I've noticed for a very long time. I used to see these memes on, Facebook on the book when I was younger, and the memes was basically just a divide and conquer tactic that people in general, but especially Black and Stan uses on light skinned people. But it's basically I used to see these memes about how every light skinned girl needs a dark skinned friend. What you light skinned brothers, y'all have to see things on more of a from a deeper perspective, which a lot of y'all do, especially the ones you guys who have dark skinned daughters and I mean light skinned daughters and stuff like that. But you see with the men too as well, but it's mainly I say on a 90% clip with the females. And I noticed that dark skinned women would always push this dynamic. Dark skinned men would too on light skinned men, but it usually wouldn't work. But I noticed this dynamic with the females and how a lot of these dark skinned females would post these memes talking about how every light skinned girl, mulatto girl needs a black friend or a dark skinned friend. And the reason why I feel like this is because one, they have it's like a divide and conquer type of tactic. They would do anything in their power to have light skinned people separate from each other. Well, that's light skinned female, light skinned females from one another, and as a group, light skinned men as a group, hanging with each other. Yeah, or light skinned men and women dating each other. They have different types of divide and conquer tactics they had towards mulatto people. They would say stuff like too much light skin on one screen. They should tell you what their insecurities are, as us having a self esteem and us coming together. But a lot of these, the reason why they say this was because that's one of the main reasons. But also they want to program light skinned women to view their own group the way they program her to view them, or they want to program light skinned women to view her own group of men how they program her to view them. For example, even with light skinned women and how they view other light skinned girls, they'll say, "I don't like dealing with other light skinned girls because they act light skinned or they act stuck up." But notice how that's an ideology that she learned from dark skinned people, but especially dark skinned women. All right. And in these groups, you'll notice a lot of times light skinned women are outnumbered. It's usually like one light skinned girl in the group and like five dark skinned girls, which is a recipe for disaster. And it's funny because they always want them in their group, but you'll see their true colors come out whenever you outshine them or outperform them, or even as a light skinned male, or you get chosen over them. Then they want to crack colorism. They want to beat you up and jump you and cut your hair and all this other stuff. But you'll notice that that they push those things because they want to program her to view her own group a certain way. All right, that's all it really is really about is programming her brain. That's why you'll notice even with when it comes to light skinned women, with light skinned men, if you ask these light skinned girls how do they view light skinned men, they're going to say how they were programmed by dark skinned men and women to view light skinned men. They're going to say they're gay, they're soft, they're feminine, and they get those ideologies from dark skinned women and men, but especially the women and the men too. All right, a lot of light skinned women they fall for that fake charisma that dark skinned men have and repeating all this silly shit, and they walk around saying it just because they view it as a cool thing to say or something fun to say. But even with these dark skinned females, I was watching a light skinned dark skinned video, and I noticed this in countless of them, but especially the one with Matthias McKinnon, and you'll notice that the mulatto girls who hung around the black girls kind of got peer pressured into saying they like darker men. But you can see in some of these videos, a lot of these light skinned girls they really like them like that, but they felt the peer pressure to say it, and a lot of them are getting punked in those groups, or if they feel like they have to fit in with that group, so they have to submit to what the majority of dark skinned women are saying. And that's usually how those dynamics of that group goes. When I watched that video, it wasn't even light skinned women who were speaking down on light skinned men in that video, ironically, but it was mostly dark skinned women who would walk around trying to emasculate light skinned men and humiliate them in that video. You know, but you had a couple light skinned girls say, you know, they would feel like light skinned dudes were bougie or they didn't talk to them. But in that, this is before the New Woke Order. This was 2019 when that video came out. But you will notice that dynamic. You have to be very on your P's and Q's about that dynamic because they're trying to program you into their way of thinking or force you into their way of thinking. Is that all dark skinned people know? But it's a lot of them. All right. And that's what this stuff is really mainly about. That's really mainly about. You'll notice in these relationships, a lot of times, the light-skinned female is usually the pawn or the puppet. It's the dark-skinned female is like the MK Ultra mind handler over her. All right, it's usually what it is, and she pretty much programs her to do and act a certain type of way in order to fit in with their dynamic, whatever they got going on. All right, that's usually how it is. And a lot of light skinned women fall for this dynamic in men as well because they feel they have something to prove. They don't really have an identity for themselves. So they try to, you know, they're like the gatekeepers of quote unquote blackness, which is not a real thing anyway. But, you know, so they try to hang out with them and try to adopt some of their, you know, degenerate ideologies. Which I'm going to make a video about that, about how light skinned people live according to dark skinned people's rules, which is a no-no. But, I'll see you on the next one.